Our goal in our lesson today is how to shoot black and white. We're out here at Riley's farm shooting some old miners in this mine shaft. If we're shooting images for black and white, there's several things that we need to consider. First off, we're going to shoot in RAW and in JPEG. The RAW gives us all of our raw data, and when you go to process it in Photoshop, you can make it a color image or you can make it a black and white image. Whereas the JPEG we shoot in monochrome, that gives us a black and white image to look at on the back of the camera. Here's our beginning image. The ambient reading is f10 at about a 50th of a second. I'm at 160 ISO. I have a silk up to be able to shade the scene, so we're working in open shade. This gives us a nice fill light through the whole scene, but it's all ambient. Here's our first image converted to black and white. Very flat, not very interesting. We need to add some highlights to make this image a little more exciting. The first light we're going to add is a Hensel Porty pack down inside the mine shaft. That's going to run at 1200 watt seconds to give us a nice kind of highlights coming down the mine shaft. Now to add some highlights to each one of our people, we're going to put a medium softbox on camera left that will give us nice highlights on each of their faces. Here's our final image. I keep going back and forth between looking at black and white and color images on the back of the camera because I want to see if I'm liking the color, if I'm liking the black and white. I kind of like having both options when we're done. Here's some interesting things we did in the conversion process with these images. Some were done in Photoshop and some were done in Silver Effects by Nick Software. When you're going to convert color into black and white, red's always going to go black. So we had one of our cowboys here on the side, had a red shirt on, it would go black, he wasn't separating, we traded him into a lighter colored shirt. So you want to look for those kinds of things. We're so used to looking at color contrast that sometimes it's a difficult experience for us to think of contrast only, highlights and shadows. In this first shot of the miner, all the values in the photograph are the same. His clothing, the background, the mine. When we put him in a dark jacket, he now has a darker value that makes him stand out from the background and really makes him stand out in the photograph. Let's take a look at our next setup. In this little setup, we're illustrating two principles. One is you let the background blow out, make it bright. That gives us more attention to our foreground subject. The second is we make a nice little pool of light around our subject that lets the shadows build around him. So we have two things at play. Shadows building around our subject and a highlighted background, which really makes his face, sitting on the chair, the emphasis of the shot. Our goal in this image is to create contrast. So I took the person on the right, I put him against a light background. That gives us a nice silhouette of him. Now the person on the left is in the shadows, dark area, and I'm going to put a little bit of light on his face. So we have a light background with a silhouette on the right, a dark background with a lit person on the left. Kind of a Le Mondrian almost experience as we go from light to dark, dark to light. Here's our first shot with only the ambient light. The man on the right is not a really great silhouette yet in this color image. We're going to need to pump up the contrast when we process this. Here you can see in the black and white conversion that we've made a stronger silhouette out of our man on the right, but our man on the left is definitely in the shadows and needs a light on his face. We added only one light on our man. It's a beauty dish from camera right with a grid on it, so it just lights his face and his body but doesn't light the whole side of the cabin. When it's converted, it really gives us a very nice black and white contrast image. The light figure on the left with the dark background, and then the dark figure on the right with the light background. Here's our final image. Let's look again at some of the conversion possibilities, converting in Photoshop or also using Silver Effects. It's been great to be out here shooting in black and white. There's some things that we've learned today. Shoot in RAW so you keep all that color information and you have the option to process later. We shot a JPEG in order to be able to have that as an on-set viewing device. Remember that red goes black. Contrast is what our goal has been today. Contrast communicates mood and interest. That really is what black and white is all about. It communicates that mood and interest. Another principle that's really important to consider is your ISO. You're going to want a very low ISO because you're dealing with so much black. You want a really nice solid black. You don't want noise in your black, so shoot with a very low ISO. 160 is native for the 5D, probably the best place to be.
Feller, I'm thinking you're flapping your jaw just a little bit too much.
I think we're going to move on to the next shot. We're going to just move forward here. In the future, we're going to talk about the conversion process, but for now, just keep on clicking.